Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to When Wisdom Talks. I'm Alisha.
And I'm off mute. Hey, I'm Kadesha.
And I am Naomi, and we're keeping the party going on this Thursday. Hey, y'all, welcome
Hey.
Oh
to
my goodness.
When Wisdom Talks. Y'all, are y'all praying for us? That's all I want to know. All our prayer
Please.
warriors out there, are y'all praying for your team, for the Wisdom on the Wall trio? Because we sure need it.
Yes.
How y'all feeling tonight? Y'all good?
I'm
Woosah.
good. I'm good. I'm just trying to invite, share, and like. That's what I'm trying to do. Yes,
Y'all know we gotta share, we gotta share, we gotta share. But of course, Kadesha, I already know that's gonna be your job a little bit later on. My job is to welcome everybody to the Win Wisdom Talks show. We thank you so much for tuning in on another Thursday. Listen, if you are a newcomer, go ahead and leave your name in the chat so we can give you a shout out. And if you are a returning faithful viewer, we want to thank you for always showing up and showing out every Thursday. You guys rock. We thank you so much for always taking the time to spend Thursday evening with us. And I know we already got a few people lighting up the chat. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Y'all already know what to do. And we thank you for that. We also want to let you know that this episode and every other episode is sponsored by Wisdom on the Wall and Be Inspired Global Network. And our mission is to empower all of you, yes, you, to live better and wiser through engaging discussions. And you always know we have fun activities and the very best inspiring special guest interviews. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to Kadesha.
thank you, ma'am. Yeah, so we're excited to be here in the last Thursday of the month. Can you
Man.
imagine? I don't understand. And why am I still wearing, look, y'all know my good old faithful, my scarf. Y'all know my faithful. What my sister called me, Linus. Okay, so I still have the scarf on. I still have the leather jacket. I don't understand. While y'all praying for us, go ahead and pray for the weather. Okay, so we need the sunshine to come on back. I'm ready to get to the beach. I'm ready to put my toes in some sand. I'm ready. Okay, ready for a suntan, all that good stuff. So, nonetheless, last Thursday of the month, yay. So we're excited. We've been talking about springing into action this month. So we're going to stay in that vein for tonight. This week, tonight specifically, we're talking about National Distracted Day. Oh, hold on. Let me get it right. National Distracted Driving Awareness Month is April. Did y'all even know that? Okay. So what I put on my Facebook page is y'all can come on in the room if you can remain judgment free. Okay. This is a judgment free zone. So we're going to be praying for the distracted saints. Okay. So we're going to keep it clean, keep it good, keep it real, and all on tonight. So we are your special guests. We are the inspiring hosts. We're going to be empowering you, each other, ourselves all at the same time. Before we get into the show, though, we want to remind you to go ahead, share and like. Okay, so like the comment, share the page. It takes 2.5 seconds to go ahead and share it on your show. We would greatly appreciate that. When you hear us talking, or you hear us say something funny, or you hear us ask a question, go ahead and respond in the comments. We want to hear from you. We can actually see your comments pop up to the right. Okay, so I can see what you're saying. So we do enjoy hearing from you, our Facebook community, as well as YouTube. YouTube, get in the game. I know Renisha normally watches us from YouTube, and she comments. Don't leave her out there by herself. Okay. If you want to learn more about us, When Wisdom Talks, or the ladies who are behind the nonprofit Wisdom on the Wall Inc., you can do all of that at wisdomonthewall.com. All right. I am kicking it over, sending it over to Mrs. Adams.
All righty. Thank you much. Well, we about to jump into Tell Me Something Good. Tell me something good. Yes, tell me something good. Well, the name says it all. We're going to share some good stuff with you tonight, whether it's a good story, it could be, I don't know, someplace good. Yeah, somewhere good we went. I mean, for some reason that doesn't sound right to me, but in any event, you know what I'm saying. We're going to share some good old stuff tonight. So while we're sharing, please go ahead and share in the chat as well. As Kadesha mentioned, you know, we're able to see those comments and respond to them. So we want to hear some good stuff from you as well. But I'll go ahead and kick us off tonight. And my Tell Me Something Good is the celebration of the life of Mrs. Kane Tanaka. She is the Japanese woman. She was certified by the Guinness Book of World Records as the world's oldest person. Now, her name may ring a bell a little bit because back in the summer of 2021, I can't remember which episode it was, I mentioned her because they were talking about the Olympics that was getting ready to come up, the Summer Olympics in Tokyo. And at that time, she was 118 years old. And one of her lifelong goals, in addition to wanting to live to 120, she wanted to be able to carry the torch during one of the Olympics. So they actually chose her to be one of the ones to carry the torch during Tokyo's Olympics. However, she wasn't able to do it because of COVID, and her family felt, you know, it wasn't a good thing for her to be able to do, which makes sense. But the sad thing is, unfortunately, she just passed away. They mentioned this, her family shared it a couple days ago, and it happened about a week ago. And I'm bringing her up because her life just fascinated me. Once I first heard of her story as it pertained to, you know, wanting to do the Olympics and, you know, with the torch. And at that time, I mean, she was like geeked out. She knew what sneakers she wanted to wear, what her outfit was. And I'm like, look at her. I mean, she was just awesome. But I'm bringing her up because it made me think about, like, how do you want to be remembered? You know, you hear people talk about that dash in between, you know, when you were born and, you know, when you pass away, what does that dash look like? And this woman passed away at 119 years old in 110 days. And it's like, oh my goodness. And the thing that really strikes me about her story is that people said that she was still witty. And I'm thinking, over 119 years old, and she's still witty. She still had her wherewithal to be able to come back with a little snippy, snappy phrase or comment. And I just think it is just so awesome. And the thing that also come to mind for me for her is I think about the circle of life. I'm gonna call it that. And when we think about, you know, little kids at 4 and 5 years old, they don't want to be just 4. And I'm thinking of the commercial, I think it's the Progressive commercial, where the little boy is watching the guy with the Progressive sign. And he actually is saying, the little boy says to him, why don't you do any tricks with your sign? And the guy that's holding it says, because I want people to be able to read the Progressive sign. And the little boy says, I can't read it. And he goes, well, you're only 4. And the little boy says, I'm 4.5. And so I think about at that age, you know, we always like put that extra day or that extra half. And then once we come out of childhood, we get to the point where we're like, I don't want anybody to know how old I am. I'm not telling you I'm about to celebrate a milestone birthday. You know, we kind of play those games. But then when we get to the other end, when we become seasoned, we're like, give me my days as well. So I'm not just 90, I'm 90 and 50 days, you know. So it just made me kind of think about that. I was doing some reflections, but one thing I did want to share, they had asked her in 2020, they did an interview of her at that time and was asking her what was the secret to longevity. So at that point, she was 117. And so she said, eat the things you like and enjoy the things you like. And so they were asking her, well, what do you like? What do you enjoy? And she said she liked sweets. So she ate sweets every day. So, you know, I'm like, hey, I'm for that. But let me stop. But the other thing she said was she likes her fizzy drinks, and her fizzy drinks actually were Coca-Colas. So for her birthday earlier this year, when she turned 119, Coca-Cola sent her all of these bottles of Coca-Cola with her name engraved on it and 119 for her 119th birthday, which I thought was so cool. But the other thing is, she mentioned her faith, she mentioned her love of family, and then she also mentioned the fact that she loved board games, that she loved math puzzles, and talking to lots of people. So that was her secret, in air quotes, to living long. But I just wanted to just really, first of all, shout out her family and, give condolences to them, but also just thank her for showing us what life looks like, really living. Now, she didn't make her 120, but she was really close. And real quickly, before I finish up, I was laughing the other day because I was watching Creflo Dollar, and he's one of the ones similar to how I used to say I want to live to 120, and he was talking about how he wanted to live until 120, and then he said he was talking to his wife Taffy Dollar. He was like, Taffy, I'm looking forward to living to 120. She was like, look, babe, I think you're gonna have to do that by yourself. He was like, girl, you can't leave me. So he was like, look, if she ain't gonna stay, I don't think I would do the 120. And I'm like, look, I'm kind of rethinking that 122. Like, this world is crazy. I'm like, the streets of paved in gold are sounding more and more beautiful right about now. But anyway, that's my Tell Me Something Good tonight. I'm sticking to it, and I'm going to turn it over to one of y'all.
That was awesome. That was a great story. And it's funny to see how people age, and how we think we just the cutest little things now, but it's like, just looking at her, and I'm not sure how old she is in the picture on the left-hand side, but it's like, wow, if when I look at her eyes, I can still see the resemblance,
Yeah.
So it's just amazing. Wow. Like, yeah, just to go from being in your mother's womb to walking to experiencing life and whatever she experienced, whether it was marriage and children, and
Yeah.
to see everything in 119 years, though, like you've
Yeah.
seen a lot.
She did. It was like
So,
the with the airplane,
uh-huh.
so that, and then also she went through the Spanish flu and obviously COVID. So
Mhm.
she's been through a lot in those 119 years. It's like, man, the stories she could tell. But yes, she was married, had children, and that picture was there at 117. That was in the
Okay.
nursing home, and they threw a party for her.
Okay. Do you know how old she was on the left-hand side in the younger
No, I'm
version?
not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure of
Okay.
that one. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I love it. I
yeah,
love it. Come on, 119. Let's do it.
you know.
Look, Mike, because Mike think he just the healthiest thing out here walking. Okay, so he like, I'm gonna be the last man standing. He's like, this don't have me pushing you in the. He swear I'm gonna be the one on the cane. He gonna be pushing me.
Oh
Lord
gosh.
have mercy. Okay, I'm running on this treadmill for a reason. So,
So he
but
don't
no,
be pushing you.
crazy. But my Tell Me Something Good is, I used to do this is an activity that I picked back up. So I used to do this like with my first business, when I had charisma events and consulting. And I think honestly, I probably just got tired of it and just have not done as much. And then of course, with the pandemic, things were shut down. So I am looking forward to networking more. And one of my colleagues reminded me yesterday of our roles, our main job as a realtor. One of those things is to just make appointments. And it doesn't always necessarily have to be with a potential buyer or a seller. It can just be with any person because everybody knows somebody. And what I've discovered, and a part of my self care is making sure that I interact with people. So that is a part of me feeding my soul, my mind, and will feed my business. Praise God. So I'm just looking forward to just really getting back to having meetings on my book outside of client meetings. Like today, I met with a vendor and, different lenders and different people because I like to learn about people. And you can grab a good meal. I mean, some of these I'll do via Zoom, but I'm looking forward to just getting out and about in the warm weather and just meeting people again and being very intentional with building relationships. So that's another part of something that I want to do, not just for business, but just for relationships, because relationships take time. So I remember Bishop Jake said one time, like, I don't have a lot of close friends, but the ones that I do, I invest a lot of time into them. And so I'm looking forward to just establishing those friendships, colleague relationships, and just overall just building relationships with people in general, over the next few months, particularly while it's warm out, because I love being out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to networking, but doing that a lot more and making sure I'm intentional with, like, gotta make sure I book some appointments and gotta make sure I meet with people and connect with people. And people really enjoy that. Like, you'll be surprised how people like talking about themselves, their families. And yeah, and I had a really good conversation earlier with someone, and he was just talking about how his daughter is, like, I think she's 14 or 15. So she's no longer, like, he's no longer the center of her world. So he's having a little moment with that. So I just love learning about people. And for me, I like to do business with people that I like. So yeah. So networking is my tell me something good. And I'm looking forward to doing more of it.
That's a good one. That's a good reminder, because, that's one of those unspoken casualties of the pandemic, not being able to network. You could do it virtually, but it's not the same as, being there and being able to really see the emotions, the body language, because a lot of conversation is the body language. You don't see it all in these little squares here. So yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. Hey, Age. One of my friends is shouting out on YouTube. So she's on YouTube.
Oh,
YouTube.
shout out YouTube. Y'all better go ahead. Our YouTubers, they show out every week. Well, both stories were great, ladies. I always enjoy the stories y'all bring every week. Mine is going to be funny. Okay, so family, any of you who grew up in church, any type of sanctified holiness church, you're going to get this video. And so I have to give a shout out to the Christy Show. Her name is Christy Porter. She does Miss Charlene. I don't know if you've ever seen those videos, Charlene. She talks about fashions and stuff like that. Y'all have to check her out on social media. Her videos are hilarious. But she shared this video and it had me hollering. So I'm hoping that you think that it's funny too. So here we go.
Spirit of the living God, the Spirit is telling me that, watch this, you got a lot of dogs after you. You got a lot of dogs after you. They screaming to you, why must I feel like that? Why must I chase the cat? But watch this. Just because you a cat don't mean you got to give it up. Just because you're a cat don't mean you got to give up the cat. Come on, somebody. God wants your body. He wants your all. Turn to your neighbor and say, not meow, but me now. Come on, choir, help me sing that.
Not meow, but me now.
But me now.
Not meow.
Oh my Lord, have mercy, y'all. That video.
Oh my gosh.
Listen, I'm gonna give all y'all a chance
Oh
to
my
just
gosh.
take it in. Go ahead and get your laughs out. But
You said you got a lot of dogs chasing you.
the spirit of the Lord is telling
That
me.
was funny.
Oh my gosh. That was hilarious.
Oh
my God. But don't that's how we be sometimes in church. Lord help the people who don't be in church. Because they be like, what is happening here?
That's
so
what
it's
it looks
you
like
go
to them.
from not being in and then you in and then it's like, okay, you get it. But that was funny.
My
That was
cheeks are hurting.
And that's what I think, like a lot of people who are newcomers to churches who are charismatic, they will be like, what in the world is going on? I thought that was a cute way to kind of demonstrate what happens in charismatic churches and churches that, express their love for God outwardly. So I just
That was no, but what took the cake was the singing at the end.
Yes.
Because that's kind of like a common theme. Like even with these fast food commercials, it's like we just talking about chicken nuggets and fries, and y'all got an R&B going on in the back. Like, what is happening? That was funny.
I love it because our people of color, are colorful. So everything we do is colorful and expressive.
Oh my God! Please send that to me. I'm sending that out.
I will.
What did he say? It's not meow, it's me now.
Me now, not meow. It's me now.
I'm done.
And I have to give a shout out because the actual, even though the video was posted by the Christy Porter, who's a comedian and actress, the person who did the video is the Alton Walker Show. Alton Walker is his name, so he was the one who did the video.
Leave it to you, Naomi. I love it, girl. Send me that link tonight. I'm sending that out. Gonna have some good laughs on that tomorrow.
I know that's right.
Because we know laughter is good medicine for the soul. Indeed,
it is indeed.
That it is. Ooh, bees, great job tonight, ladies. All right, with that, we're gonna turn it all over to you, Kadesha, to take us into this next segment.
Oh Lord, you know it's a tongue twister. Let me let's see.
Let me come in with right. Let me come in with the assist. Here you go.
Yes, National Distracted Driving Awareness Month. First and foremost, okay, if you in the room, we already said this is a judgment-free zone. So let me preface this by saying my car is my car and it's my sanctuary. Okay, so it's a place in which I feel peace, I feel safe, I feel at home. My mother is hilarious. Every time she's in my car, she feels like she needs to look to see what I got going on in my back seat. Because one thing with realtors, like an inside joke, is like we live in our car. So I got to change the shoes. I got umbrellas. I don't have clothes in there yet, but it will be added. And, you know, we got signs, paperwork, and everything else. So my car is my sanctuary. I do spend a lot of time in my car. So driving, commuting, whatever. So I, you know, when I was thinking about it, I'm like, it makes sense, you know? So since it is my sanctuary, I do feel like at home in my car, I'm doing a lot of things in my car. Okay. So, yeah, so I am probably that one that y'all are cussing out. Y'all probably beeping at me. It's not my intention to make anyone upset. I'm just really in my zone. So, it really does depend on the time of day, the mood, but I'm doing a lot of I could be very silent in my car. So I'm thinking, it's my think tank as well. So if I'm thinking or praying or meditating or next idea or creative strategies, I may not know that I'm at a yield, you know, so it just may slide through the yield. So I'm just asking for grace for all of them people out there that are like me. Okay. That's all I'm asking for. That's all I'm petitioning for is grace. But we want to just bring attention to go ahead, give me National Distracted Driving Awareness, because the reality is there are a lot of people doing a lot of things while they're driving, right? And so the US has actually made it a month. And I noticed like on certain highways, maybe 95, I think, but they're really highlighting, put your phone down, and pay attention, you know, so they're really calling this out. And I didn't put two and two together that I've seen it during this month. So they really want us to be paying attention while we drive. Okay. And they want us to be less distracted. However, some of us who are work in progress, still may be doing some things that we don't need to be doing. But I really have gotten better. So let me just say that I try to do things at red lights, stop signs. And now I'm even I'll pull over to do some things, but sometimes, you know, so some of the things you may not, you shouldn't be doing, is, you know, eating, things of that nature. But see, y'all ain't give me my assist. I forgot we got a little video on some of the things that we shouldn't be doing while you're driving. So we're going to show you that, and then we'll come back to the conversation.
Anything you do in your car other than driving is a distraction. And there are so many things that can distract you when you're driving. You've done some of these things yourself. You've seen people next to you on the road doing other things you wouldn't even consider. Driving is a full-time activity. Please commit all your attention to driving your vehicle. Just drive, Alaska.
Oh my goodness, you on a roll tonight. I got somebody, Kristen, in the chat talking about guilty. It's all right, cuz it be like that sometimes. Now I'm not that bad. Now that laptop now that was something. Now I will have my laptop in my car. Now I love like the parking lot. That's kind of like my new office. So I'll pull over in a parking lot, have my laptop. Now I don't have my laptop out while I'm driving, but I may be eating a French fry or two, or definitely Kristen said I put my makeup on driving all the time. I definitely used to do that. But I think it's more so again because makeup is so you got to really be careful. So it's more like a red light stop sign type thing. Nonetheless, Alicia's like, everybody's not like Alisha, can get up early, be prepared, do everything at home.
We're works in progress, like you said.
Come on.
But no, that's not what that's not what I'm saying. I know we all have our thing, but that one right there is my pet peeve. I'll tell you, that is hard because it's like you said, the red light. You ain't paying attention that the red light has changed. Now I'm the one behind you, and I'm just being transparent. I have these moments when I'm like, I should just hold on to beat the horn real hard, and then they'll mess up and the lipstick will go up there. But I'm like, Lord, deliver me. So I have my moments.
That means you're a work in progress too.
Yes, I am. So I just had to jump in and say I am a work in progress. But that one right there kind of gets me.
Yeah. And I mean, for me, if I am, because I am the queen of multitasking, but I would prefer to just let the light be red. And I'm okay if somebody beeps at me. Like, I don't take offense to that, right? And so I think you raise a good point because people have different emotions and handle things differently while driving. And so that's why I do, like, because my husband is he's going to beep and all this. And I'm like, babe, I don't want to startle. Like, somebody was kind of like, we had a green light and they would stop today. But I said, I don't know what's going on. I don't want to startle them. So I'm not going to beep the horn. I'm just going to wait. Even though I'm like, what's going on? We got a green light. But, you just never know what the frame of mind that people are in. So I'm not really the beeper horner unless I'm really rushing.
But I will say this, that there are degrees to beeping the horn. Okay, just hear my theory. Okay, so there is the get out of my way, right? And then there's the gentle tap of the horn just to alert the person that they need to look up. So there are degrees to bumping the horn. Okay. Now, then you have those who are the super aggressive, who may do what Alisha alluded to doing, accidentally leaning on the horn for an extended period of time to get the person's attention. But there are degrees to bumping the horn. I'm just saying.
I feel like I need to clarify. I have not done that. I say I have these thoughts in my mind to want to do that because there is road rage out there and you don't know if somebody is going to turn around and shoot you. So I am not crazy. I just, in my mind, I see these things. So no, I haven't beeped because I value my life, but the thought has been there.
They are blowing up this thing on this chat line. What is happening? Patricia talking about, and we're making light of it, right? I mean, we do understand the seriousness of driving, paying attention, right? Being alert. And so I am always, one thing I do, because I just hear my mother always saying that, always be alert. And so I'm always, just kind of looking around, and as I'm driving, making sure I'm aware of my surroundings. But there are times where I did have cutting back on eating because I've, heard some stories, but, and I really do want to digest my food, so I can do that at home. So, but yeah, definitely, I really do be in my zone and my mental zone sometimes. And I'm just thinking, how they say sometimes you're driving on autopilot. So sometimes I may be on an autopilot, maybe on a prayer pilot, who knows? Just give your girl grace, okay? I may be dancing, jamming, and whatever else. I'm impatient when people drive like Miss Daisy, because they busy texting or talking on the phone. Oh Lord. Now we all know we should be hands free at this moment. I don't remember when they implemented that law. But hands free, they have plenty of cool gadgets you can put on your dashboard. You can connect to your oh goodness, what is it? The thing in the car. Help me, y'all. The vents. There we go. But yeah, we definitely all should be hands free at this point. Get you a good speakerphone, whatever you need to do. You don't need to be holding your phone. We're not encouraging that. But yeah, that and what y'all can do while y'all praying, go ahead and pray a driver for me, because that is a prayer of mine. I do want a driver so I can just be relaxed, feet up, doing all that I need to do, and we all good. Okay, so
With my goal list, that's on my goal list too.
that's right. That is right, and God knows I need it. So real quick, and I'm gonna move on. I was headed to an appointment, and I may have been, running a little behind. So just going, my regular speed. Okay, we'll keep that between me and the Lord. And so I get pulled over, and so the police is. I'm like, here we go. Let me text my client. I just got pulled over. See you in a bit. So the police is, and I think at that time I had my little basket of shoes and all that in the front seat. So he's like looking, laughing. I mean, what can he say? I think I had my badge on, my realtor badge, a coat. I mean, I look like I'm going somewhere. So he let me go. And he said, just slow down a bit. Gotcha, officer. No problem. So there are great officers out there. They don't always ticket you. I'm sure I brought a smile to his face with all the stuff I had going on. I'm trying to find my registration. He's like, this poor child, let her go. So she can go and get to where she got to get to. So these are my fun moments in my car. Again, it is my sanctuary. It's my place of peace. I know for a fact, not just because of me, but because of the crazies around me. I know for a fact God keeps me in my car and protects me. So I'm going to continue to pray before I drive. I'm going to, chill out on some of my activities. Although I'm really not that bad, but I do eat or two. And I mean, I haven't been wearing makeup lately, so you don't have to worry about that. So, yeah. Yeah, who am I passing it on to next?
Who's up? It's me up. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. So I have to let you know that there are consequences to doing all that stuff we just talked about. There are consequences to eating, and hopefully none of you are looking at newspapers and trying to find jobs and things and reading books behind the wheel. However, in those moments when you are being distracted, there are some things that you need to think about, because outside of the fatalities that could happen, and we pray that no one encounters that, but outside of that, there are some other things to think about. And I don't think people probably look at the big picture and all of the different ways that you can really find yourself up against a wall when you're participating in distracted driving. So one of the things is, of course, there are financial ramifications that people don't really consider. You are in the moment and you're not thinking that far ahead. However, in the event that you're distracted and unfortunately you get into a collision or an accident, there are things like medical bills that you have to think about, loss of wages as it pertains to that incident, lawsuits. There are the legal ramifications that you have to deal with and the fees associated with that. Pain and suffering. So the pain and suffering, not only to the individuals that may be in your vehicle, but the people who on the other side in the other vehicles or pedestrians. I mean, I don't even think we think about that. It's not just the individuals inside the car, but you have pedestrians, you have animals who are crossing, you don't see. Unfortunately, you could end up in a situation with the animals. So there's so many ramifications. Other things to think about: automotive property damage. I have to tell you this funny story, okay? So I had my dream car, a Lexus. I loved it. It was a gold. We called her Goldie because she was so beautiful. She had a sunroof. She was fully loaded. Goldie was everything. Well, this particular day, I drove, I think I allowed my husband to use the car to go pick up the children from school. So he picked up the children from school, and on the way back, coming through the apartment complex that we lived in back then, a car came through, and we believe they may have been distracted themselves. They came across, didn't see that my husband had the right of way, and they came across and hit my car with the family in it, with my two kids and my husband in it. Well, my dear Lily, she gets out of the car. She's the outspoken one. Thankfully, they were all okay. She gets out the car. I know she couldn't be more than 5 or 6. And she says to the man, "Look what you did to our car." Look what you did. The car was totaled, mind you. The man's car, nothing was wrong with their car. Okay. Not a dent or scratch. She was like, "Look at your car. And then look what you did to our car." So she was so, and to the point where she had the man apologizing. "I'm sorry, sweetie. I'm so sorry." She had the man apologizing. But one of the ramifications is the fact of the damage that happens to your vehicle. So then you have to factor that in. And that's another financial ramification. Personal property damage could be lost. I know when my car got totaled and it was taken to the lot, I had to go there and try to retrieve whatever personal stuff I could find in the car that was left, because you don't know what's going to happen between the time the car is there on the lot and when you get there. It's up for grabs as far as they're concerned. So those are things you have to think about as well. How am I doing on time? Oh, we see the comments that are coming in. Oh, yeah,
my goodness.
Yes. Go ahead.
No, you got to look. You got to pull this on Linda's comment up. While Linda's talking about, we got to throw her on the.
Okay, here we go.
Well, yesterday I was really frustrated. Had a slow driver in front of me, so finally decided to not ride another 3 blocks behind him. But when I passed them, I was pulled over because they were undercover cops. So I played that old lady in pain to keep from getting tickets. Linda, we use something else.
Whatever works.
Oh, my
use what you got.
I know that's right. To get what you want.
Right.
Which is no ticket.
Exactly.
OMG. Funny.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, these are things that are real life. So that's why we can laugh at it. Even though sometimes the consequences are serious, it's funny because it's real life and it's stuff that we all deal with regularly and that we have to be thinking about on a regular.
And I think, it's what I get it. People are distracted and something may happen, but it's like, be mindful. You don't know what somebody's going through. Patricia just said she got rear-ended 3 weeks ago, and thank God no one was hurt. Like, it's all about perspective. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to be in an accident. Like, nobody woke up this morning and said, "I want to rear end you in the back." You just don't know what people are dealing with, and you don't know how they're going to respond emotionally or physically, like Alisha mentioned. So I think it's just definitely raising awareness. Of course, we definitely need to be attentive, but be mindful of other people's stability, like the mind, like their psyche, especially right now, people are under a lot of stress. So you might as well just go ahead and button them lips. Because I always tell my husband, the goal is for you to come home alive.
That part.
Yeah.
That's it. So, and whatever you got to do, slow down, be respectful to the police officer, whatever you got to do to come home alive, that's what I need you to do.
Absolutely. I mean, well, and y'all know, similar to what Patricia mentioned, I was rear-ended in December, and you talk about, Naomi, the whole ramifications of that. I'm still going to physical therapy for that. So it's not just what's going on in your vehicle, what's happened to other people. Now, thank God, I didn't end up, in critical care or anything like that. But, you have to rebuild your body, because if you're holding on to the steering wheel and different things, tissues get kind of messed up. So yeah, it's crazy. And one of the other financial things that kind of go along with it. A lot of people don't think about is your insurance. Those
Yes.
rates will go up. It's like,
Sure
and
will.
again, in some cases, it's not even your fault. You're caught up in it, and now you got to fight for your rights. So it's a whole lot that goes along with it. But I'm just thinking about little Miss Lily. I just love her. I love
And
her.
to this day, she the same way. I'm telling you, I thank God for her, and I try to encourage that. But she was not playing with that gentleman that day. She wanted him to know the consequences of what he did. Look what you did to our car.
Now, was he happen to be driving an SUV?
No,
Okay.
he wasn't. It was actually, I think it was like a Honda. It was a Honda.
Okay.
And he was a young man, young
Mm.
Hispanic gentleman. He was very respectful, but Lily was like,
She
I
was
need
giving
you
on
to
the stuff.
understand the gravity of what you have done.
You done killed Goldie.
She was like, look what you did to our car. And then to your point, Alisha, with the financial consequences, 100 distracted driving accounts for $129 billion of all economic loss and societal harm. That's a lot of money every year.
That's a
That's
lot of
being
zeros.
That's a lot of zeros for distracted driving. And that accountability could fall anywhere on the spectrum from, again, the financial things that might happen, physical things.
Yes.
I mean, so much is impacted. So yeah, family.
Yeah.
And I want to make mention while it's on my mind. Just we were talking about red lights and being mindful. One of the things that I've been doing now intentionally, because I've had 2 clients who had a green light and the other person kept going. And so just be mindful, even though your light turns green, I purposely still pause and still look to make sure no cars are flying through, because you never know, somebody else could be in a rush or they may not be paying attention. So just be mindful, because again, it was 2 incidences with my client. Thank God they're okay. One car was totaled and one's in a rental car now, but it's like, that's just being aware of your surroundings, because we can only control ourselves, right?
That's
so we
right.
can't control what other people are doing, but I can be attentive, be alert, look around, and you know what? You better not be behind me, because I'm making sure we all going through this light, the light safely. But definitely, I want to make mention to that. Just be mindful at those intersections, because people are trying to catch lights and do whatever. Just proceed with caution.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because and like you said, the whole beeping thing, and I am conscious of that. Like when the light turns green, if there's somebody in front of me, like I won't beep, because again, I don't know what they see. It could be something coming from either way, and also you don't really want to startle them, because somebody could end up taking off, and again, like you said, somebody coming through the light. I wouldn't want that on me, like having to deal with somebody getting in an accident because I was impatient because the light turned green and they hadn't, proceeded through. So yeah, I'm not that person. I feel like I still gotta bring that up.
I usually wait a few seconds anyway. Like I'm that one. If I'm the one at that light, I'm gonna wait a couple seconds. I'm just gonna just because I need to see. I may not be a pedestrian, but even as a driver, I'm looking both ways before I cross.
Yeah.
Look both ways before you cross.
Yeah.
Because it's not always the cars, it's pedestrians and also cyclists, especially now with it getting warmer, they don't always abide by the law. They're supposed to, look at the lights and everything, but they don't always. Some of them drive or ride their bike like they're driving, so you got to be mindful of them as well. So yeah.
And the animals thing, I mean, you mentioned the animal thing, that because we're one of those ones. We'll kind of swerve to avoid an animal. We don't want no animal blood on our hands. So it's just it's just about being mindful and really just slowing down. Like, is it that important? I remember some guy I used to work with, and he ain't say a lot of things right, but this one thing he did, he was like, the older you get and once you have a family, it just the safety of everything is just is that much more important, so he's like, I take my time. I don't drive fast. He doesn't rush. So it's like, is it really that serious? Or do I really need to be rushing to get to destination Y or X? So, yeah.
Cool beans.
What
That's all
you
I have, ladies.
All righty. Cool
got?
beans. Well, I guess I'll just round it off with some tips that we can use. Again, it's all about awareness. It's not to place blame on any of us, because none of us are innocent. We all have our things. I think in the beginning, Patricia had mentioned, eating and driving. And I was laughing. I don't know if you two have experienced this, but as we're leading up to today's show, it seemed like everything started happening in terms of me doing distracted driving stuff that never really happened before. So it's like yesterday I was leaving Boscov's, and I'm in the parking lot, and I'm checking my emails and everything, and I just started driving. I thank God it wasn't a lot of cars in the parking lot, but I started driving, and my alarm goes off to let me know I didn't have my seatbelt on. Now that has never happened. Like that does not happen. And I'm like, is it because this show is coming up or what? And then today I'm driving, and I wanted something, something quick, something to nibble on. And I got some Chick-fil-A fries. I thought about you, Kadesha, with your your waffle fries. And they were like piping hot. And I'm like, oh, these are good. And then I'm like, you know what? I stopped, and I was so proud of myself because I had to run to Acme, and I waited till I got to the parking lot. And this is what it's all about. It's just all about awareness. We're not going to cure everybody in a day, but the bottom line is just being aware of that. And it's just those things where it comes to mind, oh, I should not be eating this while I'm driving. Let me wait till I get to, my next stop, and then be able to do that. So having said that, I'm just going to give you 4 quick tips as we think about ways to avoid distracted driving. And y'all know me with my acronyms, so I'm going to use TIPS, TIPS, so that you can easily remember it. So the first thing is take a moment. Take a moment to finish dressing and handle your personal grooming before you leave. Take a moment to eat your meals or your snacks before or after your trip. Take a moment to store those loose sporting gear, especially if you have kids or any other possessions like Kadesha with her shoes. You want to store those things, anything that has the potential of rolling around. And I myself with my pocketbook in the passenger seat, and you end up having to stop quickly, and the next thing is on the floor, and you're trying to grab it. You don't want to be doing that. The other thing is secure your children, and we talked about pets before you take off. Also, take a moment to make adjustments to all of your vehicle systems, the GPS, the seats, the mirrors, your climate controls, the sound system before taking off. And lastly, take a moment to fasten your seatbelt, okay? And we talk about being aware, and it's just amazing, like how many people are literally still driving without seatbelts. It's just another level. The I in tips is involve your passengers. So if you have somebody riding with you, involve your passengers, rely on them, and enlist their help to do things for you, like making a phone call or sending a text on your behalf. You can also have your passengers look for things that you may need in the vehicle so that you're not reaching for them. You can also have them adjust your radio and your climate control. You can also have them navigate your route. They're in the passenger seat. So if you're looking for a particular street or a particular landmark, they can do that for you. Also, you can have them offer assistance to your children. So your children may be screaming, mommy and daddy in the back. Instead of you trying to reach back there and do it, ask your passenger to handle whatever's going on with the kids. So that's our I. The P in tips is for pull over. One of the things that Kadesha mentioned earlier, pull over. So pull over to make or to handle that phone call or to send a text. And I know one of the things that you had talked about, Kadesha, was the the hands-free. And granted, it has its perks, but when it comes to distraction, it's still bad, because what happens is when we talk about distractions, anything that distracts us in terms of our mentals and our vision is still considered a distraction. So even though it's hands-free and we still have our hands, to be able to put on the steering wheel, we're distracted in our brains. So one of the things that they talk about is being aware of that. So don't rely on the fact that we have hands free. We still should pull over to do some of those things. The other thing is pull over to look for items that you need, so don't start digging in the pocketbook for toll or whatever. Pull on over to look for those things. The other thing is we talked about vehicle controls. Pull over, if you're trying to change the air or the heat or the music, you have to look over there, for a moment, and that could be that split second. The other thing is pull over to eat or drink. Again, you're reaching for that cup of coffee. You have to look down, so again, you're taking your eyes off the road. And then the last thing we talk about, pull over to adjust the GPS or anything else. If you're looking at a map, whatever that case may be. And then the S is for set a good example. Set a good example. And first and foremost with your children. So if you have your children driving with you, you want to be able to, whether it's your children or, you're a guardian or a responsible adult and you have someone in the car with you, when you think about when you're avoiding things like texting, eating, grooming yourself, or calling or speaking to somebody on the phone, just by doing that, you're actually modeling good behavior to our next generation of drivers. So a lot of times we say, well, do what I say, not what I do. But we all been there, done that. We look at what you're doing as an adult and we're like, well, you do this. And so what ends up happening is it'll come back to bite you on the behind, where you're like, don't drink. I mean, don't drink. Well, yeah, don't drink and drive, but don't text and drive. And if they've seen you do it, they're going to come and say, well, you do it. So you don't want that to come back on you. But the other thing is you also want to set a good example for your passengers, or actually, let me take it the other way. If you're a passenger, so if you're riding with somebody who is driving distracted, speak up, say something, let them know that you don't feel comfortable with them texting and driving or whatever it is that they're doing. So offer to be that passenger to, be able to help them out as they're driving. And what that ends up doing is, first and foremost, it could save, not only we talked about lives and property and things of that nature, but also it could be an example to them. You never know, it can have something click in them where they're just like, man, I never even thought about that. So again, you want to set the example. So the 4 tips again are: take a moment. So take a moment to do all of those things that you have been doing in a car. The I is for involve your passengers. Look, make them earn their keep for riding with you. The P is pull over. If you don't have a passenger with you and there are things you need to do, just go ahead and pull over. And then the S is for set a good example. Set a good example. And again, we just want to create awareness, and those tips can save our lives.
Absolutely. Right. And as you were talking, it's like, the words that was just coming to mind was just slow down overall. I mean, Americans, we are so known for just being on the hustle and bustle and on the go and overbooking. And honestly, I can honestly say the best drives for me are when I'm not doing anything, when I can actually enjoy the drive, enjoy the scenery and not having a conversation. Because sometimes I would, use my drive time. Maybe that's a good time to talk. But now I'm getting to a point where I'd rather just talk to you before I leave or after I get there or pull over. But I want to enjoy my time in the car. I just want to enjoy that drive time. So I just want to encourage everybody to really just slow down, and not having that full schedule all the time. Like, where can you cut out on your schedule so you don't have to do 3.5 million things while you're driving or having to be to these places? And honestly, a lot of people will give you grace. I know, I'm definitely a proponent of being on time. However, I can honestly say, maybe it's just me who needs the grace, but anytime it just always works out. Like, it always works out. If I'm running behind, they're running behind, or it's okay. Like, you have to make sure, again, that the key is always get there alive. Like, that's the point blank period of it all, So I think we just all need to slow down. What are they saying in the chat? They are blowing this thing up. I love it. Patricia, distracted can be the fact that the driver is thinking about everything else but the road. Since the pandemic too, I've seen some very dangerous driving. And what did the video say, Naomi? Like, driving is it was like a full time or something is it's said like you need to be like it's an
Attentive.
activity that
A
requires
full-time activity. That's
that's
right.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You hit on some good things, especially the conversation. And I have been guilty of, again, like you said, the multitasking. So one of the things I would talk, not holding my phone, but while I was driving, thinking I'm getting things done. And I realized that, especially as I'm kind of going over this stuff in preparation for tonight, that that is totally distracted. Again, like we were talking about, even though it's hands free, because your mind is other places. Now, I would place the call before getting on the road, so I wouldn't be the one trying to find the number. But I've realized like now I can't even do that, and even having sometimes conversations with your passengers is a distraction as well, because again, you're trying to keep up with that conversation. You're listening to what they're saying, and you're in your mind preparing how your response is going to be. So again, it's diverting your attention from, like you said, that full-time activity of watching what's going on in the road. So for me, this was really an eye-opening
Mm-hmm.
eye-opening piece. Again, we talk about distracted driving, and we know, but I
Mm-hmm.
think it's that whole campaign, and obviously they know what they're doing and creating a whole month for this, that we're
That's
really
right.
thinking about it and talking about it, and just changing that one thing at a time. It can't be a
Mm-hmm.
whole overall, because you get overwhelmed and think, look, I'm just going to do what I normally do. But if you just pick one thing, maybe it is, I'm not going to eat and drive, or I'm not going to use the hands free and talk on the phone. And like you said, just be in your thoughts, experience the environment. You're driving through the beautiful day and all that. Just find that one thing that you can focus on, and conquer that, and then move on to the next one. And then I
Mm-hmm.
think, it'll all work out.
Absolutely.
I think it's gonna happen too, like what you were said happened to you. That now that we've built that awareness in everyone, they're going to notice the distracted activities that they're doing. They're gonna be like in mid bite and be like, okay, let me not do that. Let me put the sandwich to the side and pull over. Use one of the tips I learned. So creating those moments for awareness actually makes you pay attention more to those
Mm-hmm.
things that you're doing.
Mm-hmm. And I just want to reiterate what Renisha reiterated in the chat is yes, get there alive. That is the goal. So whatever you have to do, create that buffer. One of the things I learned from you, Alicia, is okay, plan to get there early. So that way, if I had whatever I need to do, I can do once I get in the parking lot, whether that's respond to an email, respond to a text, make a call. But let's plan better, ladies and gents, and let's just all encourage, um, healthy driving. Healthy is not the best word, but look, we're gonna get there alive. That's the main thing. Yes, thank
That's a
you,
good.
ladies. I truly need to hear and cut out a whole lot of things while driving. Oh, we love
We
you,
feel you.
lady.
Yes.
This is a judgment-free zone, honey. Because
Yes.
don't nobody have. I'm convinced. Don't nobody have more grace up in this place but me, child. So we hope that you enjoyed the episode. We hope that you learned something. Look, check back, send us a message. Once you've done something different, let us know so we know that the topics that we're talking about is helping you in some form of fashion. So, of course, every episode of One Wisdom Talks was brought to you by Wisdom on the Wall Inc. and Be Inspired Global. Don't forget, we are empowering and encouraging 3 times a week. So this is our third stop. We have a pop-up prayer call Mondays, Wednesday mornings, we're empowering you. And then of course, every Thursday at 8, we're here. So again, we hope that you enjoyed the show. Look, and until next time, we're going to tell you to stay safe, and we mean it. Okay. Stay safe, stay alive, stay blessed, and stay in faith, and stay off the phone in the car.
See ya.
Have a good night. We back.